Hello and welcome to Rose Red Homestead, where today we are going to be doing some more dehydrating. The other day I was going through my newsfeed on my phone, which I do every day, looking for ideas for videos, and there was an article that was especially geared toward people who do backpacking and camping and that kind of thing, and how they can take canned vegetables and dehydrate them for nutritious snacks when they go out on the trail. This one would also fit over in trail grazers, but because it is dehydrating, I really wanted to do it on this side, and particularly because we have had a number of people ask, can we dehydrate foods that have already been canned? And so, yes, you can, and we're going to do an experiment today because I've not ever done it before. And so we'll see how these turn out. We have some things that are aging on the shelf that we've canned that we can turn into dehydrated or freeze-dried for those of you that may have freeze dryers. We do all of our freeze-drying videos over on Trail Grazers. So we went to the grocery store and just picked up some canned vegetables that we thought might work really well. So we're going to try sweet potatoes, whole tomatoes, regular beets.
Pickled beets.
Thank you. Pickled beets, and then some of our home canned carrots. Now there's a little bit of a story about these carrots when Jim brought these in just a few minutes ago. If you will notice, there is a big T on the lid, and these were canned in October of 21. So it has been quite a while. It's been almost 2.5 years since we canned these, and this started quite a controversy because what I did was I had done some experimenting, and by request of some of our viewers, they wanted to know if you could take the Tattler gaskets. Notice I'm peeling this right off. The Tattler gaskets, these little gaskets that come with special Tattler lids. The lids are plastic, and then you fit this gasket on it, and the whole thing is reusable. I had had lots and lots of requests to test the Tattler lids, and I did, and I found them okay, but I still prefer these. But with these, we can only use them safely one time. And then someone suggested, could we take the gasket and put it on an already used lid and can and then be safe? And so we decided to do an experiment, a year-long experiment. And when I published that video where we were doing 30 pints of veggies with the lids done this way, it just set the internet on fire, YouTube on fire. The company was very displeased with us. I had bought a bag of 100 of these for my experimenting, and I gave the information to our viewers, and Tattler sold out overnight and shut down the sales of bulk. They obviously were not pleased that I was just using gaskets for this. And so anyway, we had quite a controversy. It was a lot of fun. I really quite enjoyed it. Oh my goodness. But we would run that experiment for a year. We would open veggies all along the way and test them out. Well, now it has been almost 2.5 years. We just opened these carrots. The lid was completely intact, and so they are still going strong. But 2.5 years, they're still really good, but I thought we would go ahead and try to dehydrate. So what we are going to do is arrange these on our dehydrating trays, and when we get all of that done, we'll come back. I have extra backups just in case I have more space on the trays. So we will come back when we have all 7 trays loaded, and we'll show you the trays, and then we will get them in the dehydrator. So we have 7 trays filled and ready to go into the dehydrator. I'm pretty excited about this. As I was sitting here loading trays, I was thinking through the convenience of doing it this way. I have dehydrated tons of vegetables before, but I've either started with fresh or frozen and then dehydrated. But this time, these are all pre-cooked because they have been canned. And I am curious to know what the texture will be and what the taste will be, how much shriveling there's going to be. So it should be interesting. So it took 2 cans of each of the types of beets. This carrot is on this tray to remind me that these are the ones that are the pickled beets. I had 2 extra trays, so I just went out to our food storage and got a quart of green beans that are coming up on 3 years of age, and so we're going to try them as well. Now, the article that I read said that you can flavor the vegetables before you put them in the dehydrator, and we might do that with our next batch. This first batch, our test batch, is just to see how they turn out. And then if we're going to be doing some seasoning of the veggies, we may come back with another video and just go to town on the seasoning. So we are ready to put these in the dehydrator, and I'll meet you over there. So here are the last 2 trays. It's very nice to have the dehydrator in this cabinet. This pulls out and then the cabinet closes so that it's not visible except when we're using it, we pull it out. So I'm going to set the number of hours for, it's going to take a long time because some of them were quite thick. I'm going to set it for 20 hours, and that should be enough time, but we'll find out. And then the temperature I'm going to put down to 140. And then turn it on. And it is going, and it's out so that it can get lots of good ventilation. So we will come back in the morning, or as soon as these are done tomorrow, and we will see how they do. So keep our fingers crossed and hope that this is a great experiment. So we will see you tomorrow. Good morning, and I couldn't be happier. Oh my gosh, these have turned out so fantastic. I had no idea that previously cooked veggies or canned veggies would turn out so well. So here they are. So here's our carrot right here. So this tray is our pickled beets. These are regular beets. 2 trays of green beans. These were my home canned green beans. These are sweet potatoes. These are canned tomatoes. And these are my home canned carrots, which are now BBs. This is the only one that turned out questionable. So I'm going to go through and taste each one. Carrots were in for 11 hours, and that was probably too long for them. Everything else was in for 17 hours. Now, just because that's what it took my dehydrator does not necessarily mean that's what it's going to take for you. And so just think of that as ballpark possibilities, but just check all the way along. I usually like to have my dehydrator running overnight so that I can wake up in the morning and have them done, and that was the case here. So the beets turned out, I haven't tasted the beets, but so these are just the regular beets. The taste is great. These are a little bit too far done. I think that I would dehydrate these for fewer hours. I don't want them to be so hard that they are like potato chips. Rather, I want them to be more leathery. Maybe I can find a leathery one. No, these are all pretty hard. And this one is a little more pliable. But the flavor is good, and they would just have to be in your mouth for a long time so that you can get them pliable enough to chew. So let's try these. One of these. These are more leathery. These are the pickled beets. Oh, yum. These are fantastic. So I think if I were to do these more, which I believe that I will, I would definitely do the pickled beets. They have a little more flavor, and they're not as dried out. Even though they were in the dehydrator the same amount of time, these turned out much more pliable. So here are the green beans, and the green beans are all pretty dry. Oh my goodness. They are crunchy like potato chips, and they taste just fine. I could snack on these and be perfectly happy, and we have 2 trays of those. Now here are the sweet potatoes. So They are a little bit pliable, so let's see how they do. Yes, these are good. I could definitely snack on these. When I do these again, I probably will sprinkle them with just maybe a little bit of cinnamon or something like that. But these would work great. So here are the tomatoes. The tomatoes seem to be a little pliable. More crunchy than pliable. I think these are great. It gives me the taste of fresh tomatoes. I could easily snack on these as well. The carrots I'm not going to try because they are already too hard and I don't want to break a tooth. So I think how I will use these, I don't even want to put these in my blender. They're so hard to make powder out of them. So I would just drop these in soups and they would rehydrate it within the soup. So the next step is to get them into the jars. So I'm going to start by just folding that up to see if we can loosen a lot of them, and then they just go right in. Now I can tell by the color difference between these and these that these are just the regular ones. Now we're going to let these condition a few days out on the countertop just to be sure that they are completely dry. And conditioning, as I'm sure most of you know, is just to observe to see if any moisture collects on the inside of the jar. And if it does, then back into the dehydrator they will go. So I'm going to finish jarring these up and we'll be back when I'm done. Here we are, 6 jars. These are the beets, sweet potatoes, pickled beets, green beans, carrots, a whole pint of home canned carrots reduced to half an inch at the bottom of a pint jar. And then this is a large can, a 28-ounce can of tomatoes. So we can see how much water is in the canned vegetables. Now I wanted to talk just a little bit about my trays. My older dehydrator died, a couple years ago, Jim?
Something like that.
And I'd had it for years. It was a Magic Mill, and I love that brand. So we bought a new Magic Mill with stainless steel trays, and I thought that I would really love these, and they are just fine. The trays are like this, and it came with, I think, 3 inserts, or maybe 4 inserts. But I had the inserts from my old one, and so I now have enough of these plastic inserts to put on the top. And it makes it so easy to get things like these tomatoes that were stuck. Now, this turned out to be the messiest tray after the veggies were off. I had to peel the tomatoes off kind of one at a time, but I just bend these trays enough to where I can get under the edge and then just peel off the tomatoes. But these respond well to soapy bleach water, and they'll be restored to nice whiteness. And so it's nice if you have a situation like that. So otherwise, it would be a little bit difficult to peel some vegetables and other foods off of just these trays without those inserts. I am very pleased, very, very pleased with these. I can see how I could mix up a little mixed veggie snack pack as we are in the car on some of our trips, or even during the day and by my computer, just in a little bowl so that I don't snack on other things that aren't quite so good for me. So I call this a big success, so much so that Jim has suggested that we now try doing some canned fruits. So I think that you can look forward to that video very shortly. Thank you so much for being with us. I hope you know how much we appreciate you. Our viewers are just the best in the world, and you help us grow, and we really deeply appreciate that. We would really appreciate it if you would share our channel with your friends and others. Get the word out Everything we do is according to the best safety standards that we know and understand. So thanks again for being with us, and we will see you very soon for more videos.